each other. Sorry. Okay. To help each other grow and use our businesses as a force for good. So good is the core and the key for us. We want to be a force for good and for people and for the planet. So we collaborate to create meaningful relationships that will inspire and help us grow with this noble purpose. Our vision is to be the go-to community for good in Southeast Europe. And from here to learn, to get inspired, to grow and experience meaningful relationships and having purposeful communication. We want to grow organically. So as you see, we are getting bigger and bigger event by event to invite leaders and entrepreneurs like yourself who are purpose curious and purpose led. So we want to create as well awareness of the B Corp journey and educate leaders in this region about the B impact assessment, which leads to the gold standard, the benchmark for organizations that are a force for good for people and the planet. Thus, we are as well co-creators of systematic change. So our goal is to reach and to inspire at least 500 companies in Southeast Europe to obtain B Corp certification by 2030. So we hope we will be on this board together with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Irina. It's really inspiring to see all of this mission and vision that you have in the Good South community. Thank you very much for choosing to partner with us today to organize this first event. And because, you know, we are going to talk about B Corp and B Lab, and we have here Nicola Hemio, who is from the B Lab Europe organization. If you would like to say something about B Lab, because we don't know it so well, and the floor is yours, Nicolas.
Thank you very much, Corina. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. I'm just going to share a couple words about B Lab as an organization, as an introduction for those of you who don't know much about it yet, but I'm really eager to hear directly from the companies. That's mainly what we're here for today, and also happy to answer any questions that I may be able to address with you. So B Lab, the organization behind the B Corp movement, its vision is that of an inclusive, equitable, and regenerative economic system for all people and the planet. It's very ambitious, and that's why we need the help of, you know, as many hands as possible to make it a reality. We're actually not an organization, but a network of organizations, just for you to know, and especially for those of you who do embark on a B Corp journey. At some point, you will be in touch with different entities. And so B Lab Europe, which is the organization that I work for, we're headquartered here in Amsterdam, and it was started in 2015. But B Lab Global, the first organization, was started in 2006. That's when the B Corp movement started more formally. And we have different strategies to come closer to our ultimate goal, to change the economic system. Our first thing is driving the adoption of sustainability standards. And how did this come about? Well, this slide is about how the B Corp movement started. Some people have no idea, and it's an interesting story. It's about 3 entrepreneurs who started a basketball clothing brand back in the 90s, and they were quite successful. They scaled it. They found a market fit. They were the second competitor to Nike. Maybe some of you know the End One brand. But then in the 2000s, early 2000s, they decided to sell the company. these are Jaco and Gilbert, Bart Houlihan, and Andrew Kasoy. They decided to sell the company to investors, and they saw that as soon as the company changed ownership, all the good practices that was part of their success and part of their recognition, the good practices that they had put in the company that were very innovative at the time, but really signified that it was a responsible company that they were creating. As soon as the ownership changed, this vanished. All the good practices evaporated. Investors focused on the short-term profits only, and slowly but surely the company declined. And so Jay, Bart, and Andrew were wondering, what can they do to prevent this from happening in the future to other entrepreneurs? And they thought of another social enterprise, but they thought there are already enough social enterprises and enough purpose-driven companies that are doing fantastic work. So they thought that something else was needed, perhaps a nonprofit organization that was actually going to give more visibility and more power to these purpose-driven businesses. And the first thing that they realized that they needed, as I was saying before, was standards, sustainability standards that organizations could put in practice and adopt. That's the first thing, our first goal as an organization. The main thing that we do also in my job, serving as a point of contact for companies in your region and in other European regions. That's our first and foremost goal. The second thing that we do is certifying companies, so verifying that positive impact that they have measured so that they can show it to the outside world. The third thing that we do as an organization and that we hire people for is broadcasting business as a force for good. So sharing across all of our communications channels stories of positive impact and success from B Corps and non-B Corps. The fourth thing that we do is catalyzing policy change, so trying to influence the rules of the game so that all business has to be a force for good one day. And last, more broadly, what we also do and spend time on is developing networks of local, regional, and global communities for change. And that's hopefully also what will happen today as a result of this event that Corina and Good South have put together. So that's about it from my side. This is just for you to get a picture. Again, those of you who haven't been following the B Corp movement closely, this is the growth in number of companies pursuing certification that we have experienced. We were not ready for it, especially since 2020. And so it's taking a long time for some companies to achieve certification, just because the review process is very thorough and exhaustive, but also because we were overwhelmed by demand. And I think we're coming here together today also to try to understand this phenomenon, how this happened, why so many companies are doing this change, how it could be benefiting them, and yeah, to learn from them. So really looking forward to that. I'll share a couple of links on the chat now. First to the B Impact Assessment, which is the free online tool where B Lab standards live. And I'll also share a link to the public B Corp directory, which is the place where you can see all certified B Corps globally. And thank you again. Back to you for now, Corina.
Thank you very much, Nico. Thank you for this great presentation about B Lab Europe. I'm sure that some of you who don't know the organization had found some interesting data there, and I've seen some people raising their eyebrows, so it's really interesting to know what B Lab is doing. I'm going to continue with a presentation about what it is that we want to achieve at Impact Market Romania, and where are we looking in the future. So let me just share my presentation very quickly. I hope you can see my presentation, my slides. Yeah. So at Impact Market Romania, we said we want to grow B Corps in Romania and other South East European region or European region, but in this region that is close to our heart, East and South Europe. And we are a young organization just born this year on the 4th of July. It's women-led. It's not only one woman on board of it, but there are more women in Impact Market Romania. We are set as a private project of solutions for impact consulting, and I said under the guidance from B Europe, and we will look to guidance from B Europe also from the moment we started, but also in the future. And currently we are looking for local partners, local companies or individuals that feel that our mission is close to their heart and want to join us and help us with resources. What we want is to develop a vibrant and local and diverse community of companies that will grow into a real B Corp community by guiding them to get the information about the process of certification, or just looking at how to measure their impact inside out using the B Impact assessment tool that Nico just mentioned. And we want to engage with all these companies to help them drive value from the certification. We will do this through various events like this one being the first, but also active community work and knowledge sharing from other B Corp companies that have already went through the process, so they can learn from each other in a good way. I strongly believe, and we at B Impact Market Romania believe, that B Corps want to change the economy as it is today and build a new sector of it, where we think that the race to the top is not to be the top or the best company in the world, but to be actually the best company for the world, meaning for the workers, for the partners, for the customers, for the environment where a company lives and works. And we at Impact Market Romania, we want to be part of this community. When we look at the European market, and this is an extra from the annual report in 2022, we see a lot of B Corps already in many, many countries. So you just see it on the map, top countries where they have a lot of B Corps, like France, like Italy, which is one of the founders of the B Corp movement, like Benelux region, Spain. But you also see growing countries like Poland on the map, like Ireland, that is now growing more into a B Corp hub, let's say. So we see a lot of tangible data that shows that the movement is growing and that more and more companies want to become B Corp certified. When we look to our local market here, we see very little companies. We see none in Bulgaria. We see none in Romania. Sorry, we see interesting companies in Bulgaria, in Greece, also Turkey, having B Corp certified companies. But again, it's very scattered. So it gives you the feeling that this has a lot of potential, because a lot of local companies are very worthwhile and they could apply for this certification. But maybe at the top level, the decision was never made. Maybe the information is missing. So one of our purpose is also to look and see what's a big challenge that it's stopping them from looking into B Corp, and bring the right information, bring the right partners along that can provide value. This is how it looks. I really love this logo, and I really love what it says next to it. When you become a B Corp, it's like you are winning an Oscar. If we would be in the movie industry, receiving the B Corp would be like getting the Oscar for the best script, the best actors, the best direction, scenery, costumes, so the best of everything. Because actually, in my experience, B Corp certification means that you are a top in many, many layers of an organization and activity also. So I really like this Oscar symbol. And some of the advantages that I've seen, an American university, for example, the Walden one, has said about B Corp is that it's not only something that is now growing and maybe it's a trend, but it provides so much more. It provides more credibility, it provides better engagement, it provides a motivation. Why? Because when you become a B Corp, you cannot become a B Corp without providing the necessary proofs, the necessary documents, the necessary evidence that you are a responsible company. You know, you can't really say to your employees, we are a B Corp, but we cannot provide you training, we cannot provide you career development, we cannot provide you, you know, benefits. So it really, really makes a lot of sense to become B Corp. And I think that this is one, or can be, if you are the representative of a company who wants to become B Corp, this is one of the most rigorous, comprehensive, and rewarding process that your business will take. And I invite you, and we here invite you to find out how to get started and how to get the certification process so you can connect with Impact Market Romania if you're a local Romanian company, with me, or via email or via LinkedIn. And maybe a little bit about myself, because I haven't introduced myself. I always forget to say something about myself in meetings. So I have already started, since I'm a B leader in 2021, I've started to work with companies who want to become B Corp certified. So I've been fortunate to have some companies in Austria and in Germany, in UK, but also in Romania. I'm proud to say that I've started with some companies who have showed a lot of responsibility and impact so far. And I'm proud to say I'm also doing the sustainability reporting that really helps companies. And in the B impact assessment, actually, this is an advantage because they are both connected, as maybe we will see it later. So that's all from my side. I'd like to maybe move a little bit along and stop the recording, the sharing, because I think that it's a good time for me to look at the chat. If there are any questions so far, no. And then after all this, you know, discussion and telling you about the B Corp movement, I like to initiate something which I call the B Impact Stories. I think that learning from people who have been through the process and who have been and done it, you know, it's very, very important, and it's something that has so much value. And this is why today I invited 3 wonderful speakers to share from their experience going through the B Corp process or in various stages of the process. So I'll start with one, which is very, how to say, coming from a country that is very close to my heart. This is Greece. George, you're representing POLYPAN. This is a very innovative and very known and successful company in Greece, but also worldwide, because you have so many solutions for so many industries, from agriculture to construction. I will not say it because you can say it better than me, but I'll just say that POLYPAN has become a B Corp this year, so you can share with us your whole information and journey, you know, what it was for you as a CEO, but also for your team to go through the process. So I'd like to invite George Polychronopoulos to share his journey with us. George, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Corina. You pronounced my surname perfectly, first of all, which doesn't happen often. Thank you for this wonderful... Thanks for this wonderful initiative, Corina, Elena, and Irina. I'm Giorgos Polychronopoulos. I am the CEO of POLYPAN Group. And as Corina told you, we are happy to be a B Corp since the last few months. So today I'm here to share with you the journey of transformation that led us to the B Corp certification. Very few words about the company. POLYPAN Group is a small, medium-sized family business. It's based in Athens, Greece, and it was founded around 20 years, more than 20 years ago. What we do is that our mission is to provide industries with innovative and functional ingredients that can enable these industries to manufacture final products to improve people's lives. Now, for example, in the food industry, our R&D department spent years of research to develop natural antimicrobials that industries can use in the food products, in biscuits, in bakery goods, in sausages, in meat products, and replace chemical preservatives that they have been using up to now. So we offer a natural alternative to preservatives. We help them produce cakes, biscuits, whatever you mentioned, dairy products without preservatives, and we extend the shelf life of food products and contribute to food waste reduction. So we have this mission towards doing something good towards society, towards consumers, which has led us to develop functional ingredients, which we now export to 20 countries, including several Balkan countries. Now, moving to the B Corp movement, once we started to know more about B Corps and combining that with our intention to be a for-profit business company that does good, that has a positive social impact on the consumers, we recognize the necessity to evolve, to transform, and to align our operational ethos with the principles that foster a better world for our communities, right? So we decided to start the journey. Of course, it was not without a challenge. We had to go deep into our operations, and it took us approximately 14 months of working towards the certification until we finally got to the B Corp, got to become a B Corp. So to conclude this short story, because it will be, I think, better to have a discussion later on. We saw that, first of all, the whole organizational structure, we saw a big, remarkable synergy within the team. I mean, we could see that our colleagues were eager to see this process evolving until we reach the B Corp certification. And we definitely are here today because we envision a future where more B Corps are here in our region. We are the second B Corp in Greece. I hope that the next time we meet again, we will be 10, 20, and the same in all neighboring countries, because definitely we need to be more B Corps and envision a future where our business becomes a beacon of positive social change. So this is a short introduction from my side. And yeah, hope we have some time for discussion later on.
Yeah, thank you very much, George. I'd like to ask you just one question. Maybe if you know what your score, where did you score the highest? Because there are several impact areas. And why do you think was that is specific to you?
Yes. I had it in front of me earlier today. So it was quite balanced. Environment came first. The reason is that the nature of the product that we sell to the food industries has to do with food waste reduction. It's a really environmental solution. So it was what came first, followed by workers section. What was third was community, where we scored a little bit lower, and there was a reason for it. If I could share with you, one problem we face is that we create functional ingredients, and sometimes we have to source innovative ingredients that we cannot find in the neighborhood or in our community. I mean, we have to import from other countries which are far away. So scoring some questions were hard for us because we have no other choice, like how much do you rely on local suppliers? This is a tough question for us. And but yes, the best category was environment, followed by worker section.
Thank you very much, George. And of course, we will have more time, and I hope that people now hearing you and your journey will come at the end. We have a Q&A session. I hope that it's going to be full of questions for you, and how do you manage now maybe to keep the bar high once that you are a B Corp? I'd like to continue and go to our next guest, which is a wonderful entrepreneur in her own, but also a representative of a company, one of the most innovative and successful companies in Romania. And I'd like to invite Maria Desmirean, board member of PROMATERIS, Romania, to join from her experience going through the B Impact assessment. Maria and I have worked together through the B Impact assessment, and now it's finished and it's submitted to B-Lab Europe for evaluation, and evaluation will start very soon. But I'd like to hear from Maria, how was their journey? Please, Maria, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the invitation, for having me, and for going through this process, rather a journey together. So I must say that even though when we first started this, we thought it would be a bit easier and a bit more easy to go through the process, we soon discovered that it was actually very challenging for us. The reason why we first thought that it would be easier is because we already went through a transition in terms of environmental progress. So we are managing a company that has more than 60 years on the market, which used to produce single-use plastics and dropped the production of single-use plastic in 2018, 2019. And now we are producing bio-based products that are biodegradable and compostable. So we changed the business model and we changed the product, and we had a lot of attention and care in what kind of equipment we are using and investing in terms of energy efficiency. We worked a lot on R&D and the development of the product to respect the principle of eco-design. So we've been through a lot and a long process environmentally. Then of course we did it for the good governance part, because the company is listed on Bucharest Stock Exchange. So being listed, of course, this in terms of reporting and in terms of good governance, we needed to have certain standards, so which already have a lot of disclosure and differentiate us on the market. But the challenge came from the fact that when we started working and looking at what other companies that already have the certification, we soon understood that there's a whole new level of corporate responsibility or sustainability to begin with. So we learned a lot. We implemented a lot of changes in our company within this process. And we acknowledge where are our faults and where are the places that we can still where there's still a place for improvement. So what I can say is that now we are waiting for the assessment, and we are working on the plan that we made together in order to reach our goals in the future.
Thank you very much, Maria. That's a great journey to share. And you know, if I could ask you the similar question I asked George, where you feel that you have had the big impact, and why do you think is that?
Well, I would have said that we would have scored best in good governance, but then the reality showed us that actually the best score we obtained in the workers section, and secondly in the environment. On the environment, somehow we were expecting this, because of the nature of the project, of the product, and because of our focus in the past years on sustainability and the environment. But it was also nice to see that the workers part is very well organized and represented in our chart.
You are actually a very good company to work for, I guess. If I would like to work for a sustainable company that has a sustainable and circular model, definitely I would go to you, and I would go to PROMATERIS. Thank you very much for sharing this, Maria. And maybe if we have questions for you,
Okay.
I know that maybe you will not be available all the session, but if there are questions for you, I'll move them somehow to you.
Okay.
Thank you very much for
Thank you
this
so much.
wonderful
Thank you.
journey.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to invite now our third speaker. It's a wonderful, wonderful entrepreneur in her own, Ioana Hardy. She has set up some years ago the Impactors Group, which is a purpose-led organization. And Ioana decided, I guess, last year to try the B Impact assessment and then to become a B Corp. So I encourage her to start the journey. But I would like to let her tell you more about her journey through the B Impact assessment. And now she also is at the end of the evaluation phase. So you have a little bit more to share. And I like you to do this. So the floor is yours, Ioana. Thank you for coming today here.
Thank you, Corina. Thank you for the invitation and many, many congratulations for this initiative. It's so good to see that this is going to start in Romania, and also good to see that all the countries around are starting on this path. So absolutely very happy to share my my journey. So I guess I should start by saying that Impactors Group, as the name says, has impact already at heart. So what we do, or the mission of Impactors Group, is really to equip entrepreneurs that solve environmental and social challenges with the marketing and sales skills and tools that they need to scale up their solutions. Okay, we really need this solution to scale up and very fast. And by scaling means that they also create a bigger positive impact in their communities in general in the world. So we do this through various trainings and programs that we have. So once again, when I set up the business, it had impact at its core, but I realized, you know, over the years that most of this was in my head. And, you know, from time to time, it was kind of captured in some processes, you know, some sort of structure. So I really wanted to go beyond this and really create more structure in the way I create that impact. So really see what kind of, and measure the impact I'm creating, where I'm creating impact, where are the gaps, where I can create more. So it's really that idea of how can I, you know, put this company on the way of creating even bigger impact. So that's how I knew about B Corp for quite some time. And then I said, okay, this is it. I have to understand more about this framework, because for me, it was a framework that could help me get to the structure. And I knew Corina was doing this. So I really went through, she has a wonderful discovery call where she really takes you through the process and what it means, and, you know, answers all the questions. I said, okay, this is it. I'm committed. I'm going ahead. So that was the beginning of the journey. And then it really was, for those of you who are not familiar with how it works, there are 4 impact area: governance, environment, community, and customers. And for each of these areas, there are several questions. And it was a really, really helpful journey, because through the questions, so you answer questions, and the way you answer them, you uncover more questions. So it really led into a path where I discovered, oh, I'm actually doing this, or, oh, I'm not doing this, but it's so easy, I can actually do it now, or, oh, this is, okay, I never thought of this to be doing, and this can be so helpful for, you know, for my company, for my customers. So it really was a journey of discovery, but in a very, that's what I liked about it, in a very strategic way. So very, very structured, that structure I was looking for. So yeah, it lasted, I think, all the answering the question about the 3 months. And now I'm in the last stage, which is the verification stage. So I answered all the questions, shared all the documents. And by the way, this has been great for me, kind of formalizing my thinking into processes, policies, documents, impact reports, everything. And it's not something that is just for now, it's also for long term. So yeah, it's been an amazing journey. Bumpy at time. It wasn't always easy to answer everything, but that was I guess, the beauty of it. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Ioana. And I have to say, yes, maybe, you know, this part of documentation and providing documents that sustain your claim that you are working responsibly, it's maybe one hard task to do. And I would like to address to you the same question I addressed to George and Maria. What do you think was the area where you scored the most, and why? Please share with us.
Yes. So very interestingly, I thought that I will score the highest in the customer area because, again, I'm a service business. Customers are at the heart, and I really put a lot of effort in this. So it is quite high customer, but interestingly, community came up even higher. And I see 2 reasons, and I didn't realize that. So it really the process made me realize, I think for 2 reasons. I really pay attention a lot to people I work with. So whether they are suppliers or people I partner with, generally people who are in the ecosystem of Impactors Group. And that means I do give priority to women-led businesses. I work with underrepresented. Again, even last year, I hired, because I worked quite a bit in Africa. I hired blind people who are really, needed jobs. So this, I think, increased the score and also made me realize that I'm on the right direction, that it's really aligned with what I want to create and what I want to do. And the other one was the pro bono services. So I volunteer quite a lot, again, align with my mission, or just equipping entrepreneurs. So I gave quite a lot of my time to entrepreneurs and organizations. But what came out very interestingly is that I can actually structure my time better. So when I volunteer, I can really focus on certain areas. So I guess that's why the community was quite high. It was triggered by the work I do around the people I partner with. So it's not just price, it's the values that they carry and what they're trying to do. And also the pro bono services that I offer.
Thank you very much, Ioana. It's wonderful to hear your journey. It's really interesting to see how you, being a woman-led business, managed to do so much for the community and really be a pillar for the community and for all the projects that you do, a lot of volunteering. And yes, we need to manage our time better when we are entrepreneurs. That's one risk, that the work takes us completely, and then we are all there. Thank you very much for sharing. I'd like to bring, some interesting facts about the B Corp certification process, with a focus on the BIA. We mentioned already, so maybe others who do not know are asking, what is BIA? BIA, so B Impact Assessment. I'd like to share some slides with you and bring some information also to the rest of the tribe today. So do you see my screen? Do you see my slides?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. So the B Corp certification in a nutshell, I don't want to be very long in explaining lots of things, especially for those of you who know already the process, but I think it makes sense for other people who might steer their interest today, other participants. So B Corp, it's a certification that looks at the entire social and environmental impact of your organization. So it's a complete diagnosis, if you want. that says at the end of it that your company is reaching high standards when it comes to performance socially and environmentally, where the process itself to analyze all this performance is looking at your performance, your accountability, your transparency as a company, and all that's been already mentioned by Ioana and the rest of the speakers. So it's more than just certifying your product or your service level, which we know from other certification existing in the world. It's one of the few certifications that measures the holistic social and environmental performance of a company. And it is focused on proving that your company and your company's impact is managed in a very responsible way, that you're making profit, you're successful, but you're also making a lot of good impact. And that's equally important. Those two do not exclude. Sorry, do not exclude each other. And very interesting in the B CORP certification is that before starting the process, you have to look at the legal tools. So there are some legal requirements that need to be provided. And these requirements ensure that B Corps are legally accountable to all of their stakeholders. So the idea here is to consider all the stakeholders equally important and their interest, of course, equally important in the decision making. Not just the shareholders, not just the investors, not just the people who have put money to the company, which of course have a lot of influence and power, but all, meaning workers, partners, your clients, all the stakeholders in your company are equally important. And we have two things which I think it's fundamentally special and different in B Corp to other certifications that I know, and the one is a purpose clause and the other is the director's clause, which are documents to be signed by CEOs and board members of companies. So it's really serious if you sign it, right? So the purpose of the company is first to exercise a positive impact on environment, on the community, and on the society, besides being a profitable company. So this is the first. And the second is that the directors also commit in writing to keep all the interest of the stakeholders in their decision making, as I said, and to consider everyone equally important. And this is something that it's helping CEOs of companies in front of maybe shareholders or other organizations that have part in the company to stand tall and vertical and say maybe to some projects that are harming this impact to say no. So it's actually helping directors and CEOs to stand their ground. When we look at the B Corp journey, it's a journey of several steps. Here is a journey that I use in my method. So I always start with a B scan. We look at the organization, we look at the operation, at the business model, yeah, and we check the legal requirement. And then there's a kickoff meeting where the most important thing is to answer the question, why are you doing this? What's the purpose that you want to become B Corp? What kind of impact you want to create in your community, in the world, if you're a global company? And what kind of impact do you want to set as an organization? So good questions to answer at the kickoff stage before we initiate the process. Then it's a preparation space when a lot of quantitative data are necessary, and some of you who have been through the process can testify about the data from the finance side, from the worker side, revenue side, and so on. And then the big step is to start and finish the B impact assessment. The B impact assessment, it's a questionnaire which is available freely and very accessible by any company. And doing the B impact assessment, you go through all the questions to all the 5 different impact areas that I'm going to talk about in some seconds. But the important thing that at the end of the B impact assessment, you also have a score. So you also have something that, you know, it's a number that shows you how much impact have you achieved in different impact areas of the assessment. And once you are above 80, which is the threshold, then you can take your B impact assessment and submit it to B Lab to follow the next steps in order to be verified if the B Corp status is achievable for you. Or you can stop there if you don't have 80 points, or maybe you don't like how the B impact assessment looks for you, to work on it to see the gaps, and maybe in a couple of months or maybe in the next year when you've done it, you can submit it for review. And then there's the next step, review and validation. This is the work of B Lab analysts that are looking, are screening your answers, are asking you to provide documentation, as Ioana said, are asking you all sorts of questions, because this exercise of completing the impact assessment should not be a checking, you know, check all the squares exercise. It's a real exercise that it's based on proofs, on valuable information, on documents, on data that you can provide from your company. And then you have, if everything goes well and your score is verified by the B Lab analyst, you receive the B Corp certification. Hooray, hooray. And then you have to keep the bar high and recertify every 3 years. So don't say, yes, we've done it, we finish it, and that's it. It's not for life. It's a certification that you have to redo, and you have, as I said, to keep the bar high. So be happy about this. As I said before, I always recommend the B impact assessment to be used also as a tool at a certain reference date in time for your company to look at your impact. Independently if you want a certification as a B Corp or not, but it's a good tool to see also what's the impact at a certain point in time. And this is how it looks. Basically, in the database, you can use it very well. You get started by making, setting up your name, your email address, and a password, and you're in. It's what comes next that is it's a little bit harder, because once you are in this BIA, you have to select the market. So if you're a developed market or emerging market, the sector, so where you're active, where the core activities, your industry are laying, and then the size of the company. And this is how it looks. We have actually a very colorful screen. You have here on the screen the 5 impact areas, which are governance, workers, community, environment, and customers. These are considered the high impact areas where a company has a lot of impact, and this has to be measured. Each of these impact areas have a score independently, but all together make the final score of your B impact assessment. So why did I say it's a puzzle? Because I've been asked already via chat, why is it a puzzle? It's a puzzle because you put together, first of all, 5 impact areas. Then you put together 200 questions, which are different. Some questions are related to your operational impact, for example, so your day-to-day running business and what's the impact of these day-to-day activities. You look at facilities, you look at what you purchase, from where you purchase, you look at employees, you look at governance, but also you have questions that are related to your impact business model or IBM. So what kind of business model do you have? What's the influence that you have with it on your community, on your workers, and so on. So yes, it is a puzzle. It is a beautiful puzzle that needs to fix, that needs to meet at the middle. And I think this is why it makes it, in my opinion, very worthwhile to go through. The impact areas, as I said, there are 5 big impact areas, and each of one looks to evaluate the impact of a layer of your organization. For example, in the governance phase, you look at your mission of your company, you look at your ethics and transparency in your company. Then you have the workers. Usually you answer a question about what's the financial security you offer to your workers, what's the benefit, what's the career development, what's engagement and satisfaction. Then you have the community, as Ioana mentioned. Okay, how do you engage? How do you volunteer? What kind of projects do you make? What's your diversity policy? Do you hire people from various layers of the society and so on, And of course, last but not least, the local supply chain is very important. Do you hire contractors, as Georgia said, do you hire contractors from your local region, or you have to go outside because maybe they are not existing? But if they are, you should hire them. And then at the environment, I guess this is well understood. You look at everything that you create as impact on air, climate, water, land, and biodiversity, but also you look at the environmental impact of your supply chain. And now we know that supply chains tend to be global and large and long. So this is very important to look. And then you look at customers. How do you deal with your customers? Do customers have something to say in your products or services that you create? Do you offer any warranties? But more, how do you expand your products? Do you know maybe parts of society that don't have such access to products or services, and you can create for them something more? So how do you address a particular problem existing in the society with your work, basically? So these are the 5 impact areas that you go through while you do BIA. As deliverables, this is what you get, because it's also a question I got earlier. You get an assessment report where you see the score of your assessment, and you see the score on each of the 5 different impact areas. You have also a performance report, which in my opinion, I think it's very useful. When you compare yourself, you do the benchmarking with other, with the country level, let's say, so other companies in your country that have done the BIA, and that data is in the BIA database, also with your sector, also with your size range. So you see, for example, how it is at this country level. Are you doing more than your peers? Are you doing less than your peers? Where you could improve? And it ignites really ideas to look into. When it comes to timeline and cost, another question I got, it's a long process, I would say, rather than short one. The idea that I always say with people I work with, that BIA, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So you need to take your time to look carefully into questions. It takes some time, because also after you submit your BIA, you need to wait a little bit for BLab to look at it. There would be an analyst that doesn't know your company, has to have the right time to look through all the documents, to look through all this assessment. And then when it comes to cost, I would say the costs, I wouldn't say nothing, but I would say that costs are really not so much, taking in account that you do this business and B impact assessment, which is this overview of your entire company. So I would say you pay one-time pay to submit your BIA. This is for the, I guess it covers the works of the analyst. But then once you are a B Corp, then you have an annual fee that will be calculated by BLab from your annual sales. And that would be your contribution annually for being part of this community. And I can tell you that being part of this community is really a strong point when you want to work with other companies as well. I will not stay on this, but on next year, already starting this year, there is a B impact assessment, let's say additional requirements to become a B Corp, mainly connected to purpose, to human rights, to climate action, circularity, and collective action. But that's for companies who will become certified next year, or starting with 2025. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nico, you know better than me. And And I just want to tell you what it is the connection with other standards that we know, because some of you maybe represent bigger companies. You work with GRI, sustainability reporting, you work with SASB, you work with Dow Jones Sustainability Index. So this is aligned. And always, as far as I could see, the B Lab tries to merge the standards or find those similar points with existing reporting standards. So, for example, if you have a GRI, if you have a sustainability report or an ESG report, this is something that creates a good point in your BIA. You will be asked if you have reported sustainability before. So these are the connections, but you will get this presentation and you will see for yourself, for those of you who are interested in the GRI standards, what the connection with a B impact assessment. The idea is that always a B impact assessment tries to align with other standards, which makes it good, because we don't want to work in silos, we want to work in a flow. And if you decide to be a B Corp, hooray, hooray, and you succeeded, then you're being good company. This is just a tiny, tiny little number of companies who have become B Corp some time ago. And I think that as resources, you will get from me this certification guides for small companies and for big companies, knowledge base for those of you who want to look into B impact assessment, but also something from Just Good Business and Investors Guide to B Corp, because one of the things that is interesting is that investors are looking to B Corps to invest in their impact. So that's from my side right now. I like to stop share. And I like to go to something which is connected to impact. We always talk about, companies and what they're doing. It should be impactful. Your day-to-day operations, your impact model, you should look into being impactful. But where does it come from? Yeah, this impact. It doesn't really, it comes from us. It comes from you as leaders. It comes from people who are leading the company. So how do you lead for impact? This takes me to the next speaker that we have, which is Elena Hinova, one of the co-founders of Good South, our partner today. And I hope she is here. I don't see her, but I hope she's here. Yes, I see her now. Elena, please tell us what does make sense to conduct a business and to lead a business in order to create an impact. I'm looking forward to hear from you. Please.
Thank you so much, Corina, for first and foremost for the partnership and for the inspiration and for the discussions we had, and that we are holding hands in that journey for good. And thank you for the comprehensive presentation you gave and the explanations, which is very valid for me as well, because I started a few months ago that journey with the B impact assessment, and I would definitely need some help in that journey as well.
I'm here for you, Elena.
Thank you so much. My name is Elena, as you heard, and I'm co-founder of the Good South community and also a founder of Thriving Leadership, which is a small boutique company and is focused on leadership transformation. So in the last 9.5 years, after transitioning from corporate career to the field of executive leadership and team coaching, I have experienced really exciting inner transformations of leaders who really believe their inner work to achieving high level of consciousness was the pathway for them to transform their organizations to become really purposeful and impactful. On the other hand, I have also witnessed other situations where leaders they do that inner work, they want to have positive impact, but they feel stifled, they feel blocked from hierarchies and hidden agendas and politics in organizations, and honestly, they feel helpless and disengaged. So what happens with them? They seek to leave these organizations so that they can have positive impact somewhere else. So the big question here is, where does real organizational transformation for positive impact start. And it is from the top layers of organizations, from the leadership. There are 7 levels of leadership, and they stem from one's level of consciousness. So the higher the level of consciousness, the more we're able to see beyond our small selves, our egos, and go beyond the dimension of duality, where we live in the right or wrong, black or white perspective, wherein we're judgmental and limited. So if we move to the 6th and the 7th level of leadership, we are humble. We see interconnectedness of all things, and hence we're humbled ourselves from seeing this interconnectedness, and we experience life through the lens of joy, peace, and empathy. Hence, we look for synergies, working with others in unity, and tap into our boundless creativity so that we find better solutions for society and our precious planet. I want to tap into the B impact assessment here and to say, and you know the ones who went on that journey already, that it is not by chance that the first topic in the B impact assessment is governance. If we look deeper into the governance topic, the very first criterion to be assessed from B Lab is mission and engagement. So there are options, to be more precise, 5 options in the mission and engagement topic, from the lowest, which says creating positive social or environmental impact is not a focus for our business, to the highest, we treat our social and environmental impact as a primary measure of success for our business and prioritize it even in cases where it may not drive profitability. So what we see here, it is a big chasm between these 2 options. We can also guess that the leadership who chooses to treat their social and environmental impact as a primary measure of success is highly conscious and aware that organizational purpose, which inspires positive impact, is at the core of their business, at the core of their organization. And we have gathered here today to inspire such a change that leads to impactful and positive results for people and planet. And to the topic, leadership and impact. For me, these 2 are intrinsically connected. In my language, I call it thriving leadership. And for me, this is a holistic form of leadership that includes 3 components, where the first component is a healthy and harmonious relationship leaders have with themselves. So this is reflected in their internal integration, meaning harmony with themselves, with their essential nature, with their core, and harmony with their followers. The second component of this is the leader's relationship with their followers. So for me, these are thriving relationships that are based on trust, that are nourished by healthy communications, and are focused on growth and the realization of organization's vision and purpose, and where behaviors are aligned with core values. And the third component of thriving leadership is the way these multidimensional relationships impact the achievement of sustainable organizational thriving. And this influences social and physical environments, where here I mean nature and natural resources. So you can see that this whole processes of sustainability start, and I can claim here, start inside out, starts from the leadership of any organizations. So that's why it's so important for us to tackle this topic when we talk about transformation, sustainable transformation, and positive impact in the world. So I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you for your attention, and I'm very open to answer your questions.
Thank you very much, Elena. I could stay here and listen to you, because you really bring some hot topics for me. You know, you just said transformation and sustainability starts with the leadership. So starts with the person who is there, starts with me, with you, with the rest of you who are leaders in your way, in what you're doing, in your businesses, in your jobs, and so on. And I would say that with these wonderful remarks from Elena, let's start a big question and answer sessions. Because I would like really to talk more about your journeys and how this maybe leadership influence is changing or has changed your journey. So we have already a question in the chat, and the question comes from Ronald. And to all participants, I guess, especially to all the speakers, why did you choose to go for certification? Do you use it for internal improvement? And or how do you see a commercial marketing gain as well? So feel free to answer this question. Who wants to be first?
I can go. It's a great question. Really, really great question. So first of all, I did not necessarily choose to go for the certification. That's the cherry on the top. I really chose the framework itself. So the framework is the one that gives the structure of thinking. It highlights opportunities. It highlights what has been done correctly. And then obviously it's wonderful to have the certification because it's kind of, it says, okay, you've done it. So it's a recognition. I think each business is different. In my case, as I was saying at the very beginning, I really chose it to put more structure in the way I create impact. I knew I'm creating the impact, but it was not structured, not strategic, a little bit all over the place. So yes, it was, if you like, for me, it was a strategic exercise to begin with. So the one that would put, if you like, the company on long term on a certain direction. And second one, yes, it has impact on operation. So it is, as much as it's a strategic exercise, I also considering as an operational exercise because it really goes through how you lead your operations when it comes to suppliers, customers, or all these kind of things, at least in my case. So, for example, and I just give very tangible examples of how it can impact, I mean, even the profitability of it, not just the marketing side of it. So there are questions around customer, around the impact that it creates, around feedback loops, around how you create even more benefits for them. So all these kind of questions, in effect, help you to create better products, better services, and increase satisfaction. And I already saw that, I started implemented or formalizing feedback loops. So that means customers are more satisfied, obviously it increased referral rates and so on and so forth. So this is just a very small tangible example. And there are many like this. Obviously is the marketing aspect for me would be the fact that, again, because I work with entrepreneurs who are already in this space of solving social environmental problems, they are very sensitive to, partnering and working with other companies that have their own values. So going through this process and eventually having the certification, obviously it improves, if you like, my brand equity and generally my marketing power. But that's just a tiny part of the whole process and in the end of the certification. So yeah, that's from me.
Thank you very much, Ioana. George, what do you think? What was the reason?
Yes, I'm in full alignment with Ioana. A very good question. Look, we pursued the B CORP certification primarily to align our operations with our values and ensure we were making a positive impact. I mean, that's how we started, and it's clear. Now, on the commercial side, it signals to the clients and to the partners an ethical commitment, and definitely in the long run, it will have, and we see some positive, commercial, let's say, rewards, or some stakeholders who feel similar with us come closer to us. But it's a great tool for improvement and for making sure that your company is definitely making an impact to society.
George, may I add a question, because you mentioned the relationship with your customers, and I can extend also with your suppliers and with the whole spectrum.
Sure.
So what was tangible that you have seen? I, for example, was looking at some research saying that the B Corp sales in generally tend to raise because they have more customers, they have more, as you said, more exposure. People know you are a B Corp, and then they want to work with you. Customers know, and they want to be part of you. So what did you observe? Was it something there, please?
Look, definitely, starting with suppliers who definitely were happy to know that they are a partner or distributor of products in Greece is a B Corp. It definitely signals quality, ethos. They know that they will start a good cooperation. So we saw that already, and also it has worked with several customers. Now, to be clear, we are a B2B company, so one could say that our customers are not necessarily motivated by the same things that motivate us. We are not a B2C, so it's not that we come out to everybody, to all consumers. But still, even though we are talking about a business-to-business venture, we have seen among several customers, definitely, for example, price-wise, they would be eager to pay for our product a small percentage higher, knowing that it goes to a B Corp. These are things that we have already seen, although it's really early to have a full, a full picture. It's
yes, I understand. I understand. So basically, customers would like to pay more to work with you, you would say, which is good. I think it showcases something. A little bit more, yes. But
yeah,
it goes for a B Corp.
Yes, yes.
Yes, absolutely. Unfortunately, Maria Desmirean had to leave, but I'll pass the question to her as well. And we have another question from Ronald. He says, why did you went for B Corp instead of going for ISO 26000? For some of you who do not know, ISO, it's ISO 26000. It's about corporate responsibility. So the CSR corporate responsibility. It's a standard. It's so it has to be audited by a certified company. I don't know about Ioana, but maybe I can go directly to George. Did you look at the standard, George, before 26,000?
Look, yeah, first of all, there is no competition between ISO 26000 and B Corp. We have ISO 22000, we have ISO 9001. We definitely consider it for next year. What I liked in what is different, let's say, there is no question in ISO 26000 that asks you to divide the salary of the CEO to the salary of the least paid employee. And if it's not a big difference, you get more points. If it's huge difference, you get 0 points. So, meaning that the orientation is different. I definitely applaud companies with ISO 26000. I might even try to do that next year. But I mean, just going through the impact assessment and reading through the questions will definitely give you an idea where the difference lies between the two standards.
Yeah. Thank you. I actually like what you're saying. Please, Ioana, go.
I want to add something which is kind of in between Ronald's two questions. And I know that I've been asked this question many times, like, where's the commercial values? Like, why would you go with this framework, not with the other one? So, and I want to kind of bring it in a bigger context. Some things, first of all, there is commercial value, just to be very clear. But some things you don't necessarily do for commercial value. So it has so many benefits beyond the commercial. So I think Nicola was saying at the beginning, that was all about, when the movement started, it was about good practices and standards. And this is so, so valuable for a business, especially when you're when you want to scale up. So having those documented practices, good practices, standards, policies, it really puts the business, you have the founder, then you have the team, they all work in sync. So it's really, really valuable to go through this exercise. And then, even if sometimes you cannot measure the impact of, all these good practices and all these standards, it will definitely end up in better commercial value. I mean, even if you get investors or if you want to sell the company, they will be looking at these kind of things. So it really increases the value of the company. So I'm always saying it's important to look at the commercial value, because obviously you spend a lot of time, you go through the process. When there are big teams, they spend a lot of time on doing this. But there's more than the commercial value itself and the marketing value. It's the, if you like, the operational alignment, the good standards that are really for long term. So once they set in, it puts the company on a very structured direction.
Thank you very much, Ioana. And because you mentioned investors, I got a question: how are investors relating to B Corp, and if they know it, if they like it, if it means anything for an investor to invest in a B Corp. I have to repeat myself. So there is a beautiful paper that you see also in my presentation, which is a sort of a guide to investors for B Corps. And it says there, by one of the top investing firms in New York, they say that it would be foolish for a CEO not to look into such a certification, because it brings a lot of awareness of how the risk in that company are managed. It's not that there are no risks. They are, of course, like in every business, but it's a certitude that that management team knows their impact, knows where they sit well, where they don't sit so well, knows the gaps, and they would fix it. Yeah. So it's first of all, as you mentioned, you want an exercise to look beyond, and to look deep, as George said, to look deeper with questions and questions and questions, and go deeper and deeper into the business model to see from where it comes really your impact. Because if you know the roots, then you can also know how to increase it, or if it doesn't exist, maybe how to plant the seeds of your impact. And another example that I can give you, it's a company, it's a startup actually, that didn't have so much let's say power or money, or they didn't scale so much because they were 3 years on the market, so it was a medium activity. But they scored hugely when they did the BIA, and they did it with me solely, without wanting to become B Corp. They said, okay, let's look at the impact we have so far in these 3 years and how we can increase. And after that, they showed it to some investors that were interested, and the investors said immediately, yes, we would like to invest in you. You don't have the organization now, and you're at the very beginning, and there is so much to be done, but we like what we see. We like how you position yourself. You like what customers you want to tackle, that you have so diverse ideas to expand. So we would like to expand with you. And that was, for me, something that I said, okay, maybe financially they weren't the biggest choice, but impact wise served as a bonus to the decision making. I'd like to ask you, George and Ioana, because now you've been through this process, and of course you have your own lessons. So if you would talk to another entrepreneur or CEO or manager who wants to look into the B Corp and is not sure, it's looking at other, let's say, existing on the market similar, what would you convey to him or her? What is your lesson that you got going through this process? Please, which one wants to start?
I could start this time, Ioana.
Come on, George. Yes, you start first.
Lessons. First of all, I would say that it's a lovely community. You even see that here in that we are B Corps, and it's a beautiful community that you can make a very nice network with other companies. But now about the process, what I would suggest is like I would recommend create, as you said earlier in your presentations, create a username and a password, and whenever you have time, just start with a B impact assessment to see where you stand, which is honestly the fun part. Check your scores, see areas of improvement, start tweaking your answers, and when you feel ready for the certification, go for it. It's a smoother process, much smoother than you might anticipate, and it's truly rewarding. That's my suggestion, my advice.
It's I was smiling because I remember myself in those first days when it's like, shall I go with this? What is this? Is it really aligned with what I want to do? So there's so many questions, and I remember myself having all these questions. So my suggestion will be first to step back and ask, why do I want to do this? What am I trying to achieve? And then there's so many things that could be, there's no one thing. So be very, very clear with that. And maybe B Corp is the best alternative, maybe it's not. So having, that clarity of why you want this. And second, what has been really, really, really helpful for me, and I say everybody the same thing, take the time to talk to a B leader. So I know we had that session, Corina, and it has been so, so helpful because I had so many questions in my head that I couldn't answer. So having that, whether it's half an hour, 1 hour discussion, presentation, whatever it is, just to understand in more details the process and how it unfolds, how it can help, having examples and so on. I think it really then helps as you get started, if you decide to get started, to do it with commitment. Because I remember once everything was clear in my head, I said, yes, I want to do this. And I was fully committed, which means that, when maybe there was some difficult questions or some things took a bit longer, I said, no, I really want to do this. So I wasn't kind of flopping or trying to give up or anything, because I knew what's ahead. I knew why I want to do and what's this all about. So that will be my suggestion. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ioana and George. And as we go very close to ending our beautiful event, I don't want to keep you any longer. We have been together for an hour and a half. I'd like to address maybe some last, we have a question, but maybe we will answer separately. Just to keep in time, I'd like to invite Elena and Irina, just the last word from our partners, Good South Community, in closing this event.
Well, I just want to express my gratitude. I feel really joyful is the right word. I see we are now a small group of people who are really committed to make a difference in the world. And I trust the journey, and I trust it will be growing organically as we wished for. And it's happening. So I really want again to thank you, Corina, for being with us, for us being together on the journey, and I really trust it. So thank you again, and especially to Ioana and George for the inspiration. It's a big boost. This journey is worth it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone on my side. It was a really useful, inspirational, and impactful meeting today. Because you are a great example that we can share with our colleagues, communities, and I am so impressed by Ioana and George, your input to the environment, leadership, and market, as well, Maria. They replaced the plastic, which is amazing achievement. even though she's not here. Thank you, Corina. Thank you, Elena, and everyone for being with us today on this purposeful meeting.
Thank you very much, Irina. Thank you very much again to our speakers and to everyone who took the time to spend this afternoon with us. This will not going to be the only event. There are going to be more events, so I will continue to invite you and to bug you with invitation and emails and ask to speak maybe in the future. But I think that today we have managed to be an inspiration for Romanian companies, for Bulgarian companies, from Greek companies, from everyone in the Southeast that is looking towards the B Corp certification and wants to follow your model. Thank you again, everyone, for coming. Thank you very much and wish you a wonderful afternoon.
It was great
to
see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.